How physical are these emotions of yours? Very. How do you actually get the feedback to know when it actually is like an emotional experience and how to navigate that? And what do you do with those dirty E things? Because most of us have learned, well, you're just supposed to think your way out of it or have a different attitude. You know, your attitude is mental, but your emotions are physical. And so that's where we just contain it all right. I'm fine. And so you explode. So don't do that. Instead, be grateful you're here tonight with Carrie, who's going to help you work through some of that. And then come back on the 29th, where I'll help with some other stuff. Right. It's fun. Awesome. And how many of you have friends? Okay, if your hand isn't up, you need to make friends. Please, you need them. This world, it's hard. You don't want to go through it alone. Make friends. If not friends, at least get a worthy nemesis.
Right.
And then invite them to our March 14th Ides of March Foundations of Network Spinal. Since it is on the Ides of March, you can bring a nemesis. But with that, without further ado, seriously, Carrie is one. I am honored and blessed to introduce Carrie Mancuso, who is one of the most passionate and tenacious when it comes to helping people make a change. Because she sees, like in each person who comes in here, she sees who you are and who you have come here to be, and will let nothing get in the way of the gap between those. And we'll just find, how can I help this person move forward? And so that is why she has such a passion for actually helping to support with these first two, the introductory and the stages we never outgrow, stages 1 and 2, because they can seem simple, but they also have a surprising amount of depth. And also they're the ones people avoid the most because they get really raw and really real. And so with that, I would like to introduce Miss Raw and Real herself, Carrie Mancuso.
Started. Hey, listen, everybody, we're playing bingo for 2 months. There are prizes to win. You all get a stamp tonight, and it's going to be for the Attendant SRI Discover class. So we're going to give away prizes, and then so you can win by doing the things across, down, or diagonal. I did buy some really nice coffee mugs to give away that I want one. I'm super stoked about. And if you do a blackout, which is all of the things in there, you get put into a drawing for a chance to win 10% off of your next care plan. So we'll be doing this for 2 months. We have the classes for it. I know, I love it. Hey. So keep it going. We put them up there. We'll stamp them for you. And you get to see your competition, right? Who's winning, right? You wanna win. So thanks for coming tonight. This is my favorite class to teach, and it's because it's the really basic foundations for SRI, which are, if you haven't been watching your modules, watch your modules. If you need to get them again, let me know. But this is the fundamental class for the SRI exercises that help you connect to your body. And why is it my favorite? Because most people are living, do you ever feel like you're living out of here? And then the only time you pay attention to this is when it hurts, right? And you're all like, right?
But it shouldn't hurt.
But it does. So I want to give you the experience of living instead of just maintaining. Is that fair? Because that's what most people are doing. Is like I feel like if you walk in here, if you walk in this door, that you've made a contract with the universe to do something different. We're not your regular chiropractic office, if you haven't noticed that, right? So I'm going to take the clue from the universe that says, okay, if you're going to be here, we're going to give you an opportunity to do something different than to just get out of pain. So and anybody can have, I was gonna put these on your chairs and then I totally forgot. And then Matthew was talking, but there is a copy for everyone. And I like this quote, and I was too lazy to write it on the thing. So I just printed them. Yeah, you can do that. That would be great. Thank you so much. So this is the quote, and I chose this quote for the class. The problem is not desire. It's that your desires are too small. The left-handed path means opening to desire so that it becomes more than just a craving for whatever the culture has conditioned us to want. Desire is a teacher. When we immerse ourselves in it without guilt, shame, or clinging, it can show us something special about our own minds that allows us to fully embrace life. The left-handed path means opening to desire so that it becomes more than just a craving for whatever the culture has conditioned us to want. The culture tells you to take a pill. The culture tells you shouldn't feel that way. The culture tells you shouldn't be mad. The culture tells you all kinds of shit all the time. And the culture, and I'm giving you a warning because I will drop the F-bomb. It's gonna happen. But what happens is the culture tells you that, oh, you're just getting old, you should be that way. Oh, it's just this, it's just gonna be that way. And I would tell you after 15 years of doing this work, it doesn't have to be that way. You have a choice. Healing is different than curing. I've seen people who are cancering who are living their best lives.
True.
I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff where people go beyond what they think they could because they weren't listening to the world around them. Misery loves company, and our culture loves that company. I'm living the dream. When you say, if anybody says that to me in here, I'm the first person that goes, oh, I know what that means. It's a shitty day. Because that culture has taught you to say that when you don't want to tell the truth about your own experience. So pain is never the problem. Pain is the messenger, and pain is 10%. It's not even 10%, it's 9%. Is it 9%? It's the last 9% your body will clue you into. So if you're feeling pain, it's because the 91 other percent of you wasn't listening to the signals. And we know it, we all know it. You can't stand up here and look at me and go, well, Carrie, it's just that. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. I'm here to tell you that if you want to do something different, you have the opportunity. We always have a choice. And sometimes some choices are harder than others. That's okay. So, every time I teach this class, it's a little bit different, but it has the same foundations. And it's not unusual before a class, I'll get questions or I'll see things in the practice and I'll be like, oh, this is what's coming up. Right? Because we're all in the same soup, right? And the reason that I ask for people to be in the room is because there's a difference when we are in collective. We have spent, and 2020 really separated us all. And it did some really great things, like it turned the volume down for some people, but it also brought the volume up for a lot of other people because separation is not in our nature, right? We need to be around people. As much as I don't want to get away I don't want Matthew on Saturdays, like, you gotta get out of the house, get your coat on, we're going for a walk. Okay, I'm coming. I like to cocoon too. But I will see the trends in the conversation. And I'll get the same questions at the front desk. And I think that when I see that, there's something that's calling everybody. Right. And it's, to me, what I really saw as pain is not the problem. We get to go back to basics. It's our relationship to it. Right. And it's our energy level. We know this. We all know this, but we need to be reminded. Right. Sometimes shit is just shit. That's what it is. And that's what we're going to do tonight is like be with the shit. Sounds exciting, right? But let me tell you, when you can be with your experience instead of trying to manage it and negotiate it away, it's a whole different animal because the experience has an energy, it has a breath, it has a movement, and it's not a thought. And us here in the Midwest, we're really good at being like, oh yeah, I totally have got this. And I'm feeling my emotions, but I'm going to talk about it instead of have the experience of it. And then how many of you wake up in the middle of the night and you're ruminating?
Right.
That's not having the experience. Yeah, you're sleeping finally. Right. So my promise to you is this. I'm not going to bullshit you. Like, I'm here because I know the value of what we do and what's possible. And I always tell people, I'm the one that people come to when they want the truth. I'm not the one that is going to coddle you and go around the bush. And like, I'm like super direct and I'm going to tell you what I think is up. Okay. I'm gonna, my other promise to you is I'm gonna create enough discomfort for you tonight, for you to realize that discomfort isn't the problem, it's your relationship to it. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Discomfort isn't the problem, pain isn't the problem, it's our relationship to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to help you stop believing that your life can suck moderately less than others. Right? Well, I'm just a little bit above everybody else, right? Just a little bit. Is that fair? And I'm gonna sponsor you with whatever it takes because that's the fire that lives within me. And some of you already know that because I've walked you through that before, or you've walked with me, or we've walked each other down that road. That's my promise to you. So I made my little chart because this keeps me on track. Here, I'll move over so people can see it. So my outcomes for tonight are this. For you to have an experience. It's not using our thoughts or thinking we already know the answer. Is that fair?
Okay. All right.
Not using your thoughts. It's like, I've never had a child. I absolutely cannot tell you what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Only the women in the room that have had children can do that. Or even men who have children, right? Like, I can't tell you what it's like to physically have a baby. So tonight we get to be in beginner's mind consistently. Somebody, it's like, people are like, oh, I've done this class before. Yeah, and every time you come, you're a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope so, right? Like, you don't eat broccoli once and all of a sudden, whoa, you're healthy, right?
I wish.
Right?
Yeah.
Value, outcomes for tonight, value and dignity. You get to value the parts that you don't like and have dignity for them. There is some shit people want to get rid of and they don't want to face. It's not a dragon, right? But it's like, you're going to see like, oh, like, I feel like this is going to kill me, or if I experience this, it's going to, it's never going to stop. Has anyone ever felt that way?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I dive into this experience, I'm never going to crawl my way out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Have some dignity for that part of you. Like, it kept you safe. But it is not the only part of you, and I promise you, no one is going to die here tonight. And here's the thing, though, is like when I used to do SRI hands-on with everybody that would come through the office, and I would look at people and I would say, are you going to die in the next 3 seconds? And they would laugh and say no. And I'm like, yeah, but there's a part of you that feels that way. So you have to acknowledge that. You don't have to live from it, but if you don't acknowledge it, it will run you. It will be the excuses that you make and the avoidance strategies you have to not meet the part of you that needs some attention. Is that fair? We all know this. We all know it. But I want to give it words. And I want to create a different culture that allows that shit. Like, when I go to the grocery store, if I'm not in a good mood, I really like telling the person, how are you? I'm like, well, I'm really shitty today. And I watch them, and like, some of them go, like, they don't know quite how to compute it because they don't quite know how to be with me. If you come in, I know there are people that have come in here and they're like, I am so angry. And I'm like, sweet. I'm really sad. Awesome. Yeah, sometimes life sucks. Because you're allowed to be those things.
Yes, I do.
Yes. People that say, oh, I can't.
Right, but here's I know, but you're already buying into the cultural story. Your mind is, yeah. I don't give a fuck. And I'm saying that not lightly, because that's the story that everybody's going to keep telling you. And until you say, I don't care what you're telling me, I'm going to do what I need to do for myself and my health and my life, then you can move on. That's the peace. The world will keep telling you. You walk out the door and the world will keep telling you things. It's up for you to decide. And I like when and the girls have heard me say, like, I don't care if anybody likes me. It's not true. I actually care a lot
Yeah.
that people
Yeah.
that people love me. But I don't really care if you like me based on how I'm living my life and serving people.
Mhm.
If you get in that way,
Mhm.
it's not like it doesn't matter to me,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Like I'm gonna keep going.
Right.
And as you heal and as you get healthier, the people around you may not be changing. And those relationships will change. And you have to be ready for that. Because if you keep placating and going back into that same thing, you are dropping your standard for your health when you know better. That's the cultural story. Because I don't want you to change. Please stay here with me.
Mhm.
It's like people are like, well, I don't like Tony Robbins. Have you ever seen him? Do you know how many people he helps? He may not be your cup of tea, but he's doing some really great work. Right? But people don't like him because the dude is wealthy, he's smart, and he's got some great stuff going on. People will tear you down whether you're here or here.
Right.
So why not just do what you want to do and start experiencing and expressing life? Here we go. Value and dignity. So you gotta have dignity for those parts. Certainty, safety, and stability. Part of this work in the office is to create, do you notice how systematized everything is when you come in? Everything creates a level of certainty so you can come in and get on this table and not think of anything else. We do that so that we can shake the shit out of you.
Right.
Because that is also required. We need to know that we're going to wake up in the same body every day, right? Like if you woke up and you were your husband, or like you were a practice member, or you were me and I was you, like it'd be real weird, right? Like, or you want to know, like my toothbrush, my toothbrush is in the same place every day, or like I packed my lunch, I know what I'm going to eat, right? But some of us overvalue it. It has to be the same. You're putting your ducks in the row all the time.
Right.
Who understands this? Well, if I don't eat this, it's going to be this. And if I don't do this, it's going to be like this. Any change in your environment creates a panic.
Right.
So we want to create stability when it's time for stability. We also want instability. That creates variety, right? The wave, like how do we learn to ride the wave, right? This is where our emotional content comes in. And this is where most people want to shut it down and process it through the mind instead of having the experience because they're afraid it's going to change them. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the things, valuing and overvaluing. Like, I'm sure there's some of you in here, everything's got to be in its place all the time. You're not going to go out. You're not going to do this. You're not going to ruffle feathers. Right? I'm going to ruffle your feathers tonight, but I'm going to give you tools so that your nervous system has a baseline function of what certainty can be. Like, hey, I'm going to be alive tomorrow. I'm going to live through this. I have the bandwidth to do that. How many of you noticed since you've been in care that your bandwidth is greater? Yeah, it's like, oh, I can take on a little more stress. I have the ability to think clearer.
Okay.
I'm like, my life is a little bigger. Like, that's because your nervous system isn't using part of that percentage of you thinking, oh shit, I'm gonna die. Does that make sense? So now it's cleared up to go, oh, I can start to live, right? The beauty of care is it does that. The curse of care is it does that. Your life starts to get really big and you're like, holy shit, I can juggle all this stuff. That's okay though. I'm here to live. Okay, so that's what we're doing. These are the outcomes. Everybody we're all on the same page? All right. Okay. So what is SRI and what does it have to do with my care? Right? Like we're like, why do I get these modules and what does it have to do with anything? So what it has to do with is 98% of you is unconscious. 98, I know, we're all like, what? Right? Like I'm just walking around of zombies. So 98% of you is unconscious. So when you're face down on the table, that 98% is learning how to rewire to best suit you. That's it. Like Matthew is, we call it booping. He's in training you. He's booping you and your nervous system goes, I know exactly what to do to help this person become healthier. Okay. The other 2% of what we do is in the SRI. And part of that is getting conscious about life's rhythms, okay? So SRI is really just like, where is life asking me to be? So it's like, for instance, if you have to throw up and you stop the vomit, do you necessarily think that's good for you?
No.
No, so it's like, or if you have a fever, people are like, oh, we're gonna stop the fever. Like, the fever is the body's feedback to say, I'm killing off. I'm building the immune system. I'm killing this off. Now we know like it can go into emergency, but how often does that really happen? Right? Not as often as the
Society wants you
culture
to
would
think.
like you to think. Take an aspirin, there's pain, like make sure, you know, it's like have,
Fever stopper.
yeah, right? Like, so there's rhythms in life. Like how many of you have swallowed tears and you can feel it hurt in your neck and your throat and your chest, right? Exactly. It's a rhythm of life that is happening. Or like your body, it's like you start to get anxious, but you think it's anxiety, maybe it's excitement, so you stop it. We try to stop the things we don't like. What if it was feedback for you to listen to get you to a new level of living and a new level of experience in your life? What if that motion and energy that was happening was like, you gotta puke, right? Or I gotta take a poop, right? And I say it's funny, but at the same time, we all know, like, these are things we can all relate to. And it allows the system to have a different experience. But so often, culture's like, we're just gonna put you in this box. So what if pain was the wake-up call? To say, hey, maybe you need to stand up more, or maybe you need to exercise, or maybe you need to eat different, or maybe you need to change jobs, or maybe, right? I don't know what it is for anybody. My job isn't to tell you that. My job is to teach you how to listen a little bit more so you can actually make the choices that you need to. Is that fair? I mean, sometimes it's really simple. It's like if your hand's on a hot stove, you gonna take some Vicodin? You gonna get acupuncture? You're gonna come get adjusted? No, move your hand. And sometimes it's that simple. And sometimes the choices are hard, right? And sometimes when you're face down and the pain keeps coming back and Matthew's like, hey, do stages 1 and 2, and you're like, I don't wanna, right? Because we all know we've been there. He's asking you to look inside. Because you are your own best resource. And we can't help you if you keep going out and banging your head against the wall and doing the same shit that got you stuck in the first place. Right? Our job is to help wake your nervous system up so that you can make a different choice. Right? That's it. We want you to be alive enough so you can feel the lion by its roar, not its breath. You don't want the lion that close. And our nervous systems are exquisite. And when they're functioning at their highest level, it does miraculous things like sleep better, poop better, eat better, feel more energy, right? You have more power in your brain. Like people tell me, oh yeah, I have way more energy. I have clear thoughts, right? I have more emotional bandwidth, which helps us make change. People are like, why do I feel so emotional? It's part of the process, sorry. But being healthy means you have access to that, okay? So when we do these exercises and when we look at SRI, it's saying, I am in relationship with life. And if I'm only, life is this big, but if you're only gonna choose to live life from this bandwidth, that's all you're gonna get. You're only gonna get this slice of the pie, is that fair? So my job today is to teach you like fundamental stuff so that you can go, oh, that's new and interesting, instead of, oh shit. Is that fair? Because I want you to be able to like bring some energy to some of that. So SRI uses your hands to connect to your physiology. So when people say to me, well, can't I just think about it? Absolutely not. Because thinking about it is what gets you stuck in the first place. We need to be in the meat suit. We need to have like our lips, our feet, our hands, and our genitals have the most nerve endings on the body. And I love it with our feet. Part of why we go barefoot is because I'm not cleaning stuff off the carpet all the time. It's just not gonna happen. However, the other thing is we have so many nerve endings on our feet that tell our body how to move. Right? And most of the time they're bound all the time. And then you need the feedback, right? Right? It tells you what to do. The hands do the same thing. And for tonight's purposes, when we do SRI, it's called somato-respiratory integration. Not super sexy, Sherry, but it is what it is. So, but what it is we're gonna use our hands on our body, and you can do SRI anywhere. But for tonight, we're gonna use 3 positions. So when we use the hands, we're gonna put them palm over palm. And the reason we do it this way and we put them on the body is we don't want the brain to have to figure out a bunch of information. We want to be super clear and succinct. Is that fair? Because it's like like this is different than this, okay? And then we're gonna choose 3 positions, and I'm gonna teach you the positions. Position 1 is up at the top, right under the clavicle. So just bring your hands there. Palm over palm. Yep. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. No Nosferatus, none of this, right? Just kind of like this, right? And the thumbs under where the clavicles are. And then position 2 is right under the breasts. That's where the ribs start to split and you have a xiphoid, okay? And then number 3 is over the belly button. Super easy. Does everyone have a belly button? Okay, cool. And if you don't, well, yes, okay? So the reason we choose those 3 is our vagus nerve is from here to here. And what we want in our basic foundation of SRI is to be able to connect to tension and release. Because most of you have come in here with a hyper aroused nervous system that doesn't know how to release tension. Is that fair? And so when we do SRI, what we want to do is to tell the nervous system, hey, I've got some place that actually works and I can chill. Is that fair? Not disconnect. We still want presence, but chill. Okay. Everybody got that? And for stages 1 and 2 tonight, those are the positions we're going to do. Now, the map, here's the map. It's not very sexy. I did this on Friday. So we're going to do stage 1, suffering. Yay for suffering. Right? Everybody. Yay.
Yeah.
And here's why, because most of us try to avoid it. It can't be good. And then the other one, the next stage 2 is the polarity. Okay. This, that, right, wrong, black, white, happy, sad. Makes sense? So these are the discover. 3 is kind of the bridge between stages, the discover and the transform. Okay. But we're going to stick to 1 and 2 because I want to keep it really simple. Now, stage 1, in most SRI, we actually say things out loud. And we say things out loud because it changes the function of the brain, right? It's true. And it's like they've done studies where somebody's toe gets smashed with a rock. And like if you yelp or don't yelp determines how quickly you heal, right? Like it's true. Our bodies know what to do. We scream for a reason. So we're not going to scream tonight. However, what we're going to do is what I'm going to call check-in, and we're going to get a baseline reading of your bodies. Okay. There's a few things that we want to do. We want to really look at what our awareness is. Okay. And we want to listen to, is our body breathing? Is there sensation, any kind of sensation? Is there movement? And am I completely checked out? That's okay too. There's no right or wrong. You don't have to force presence. Does that make sense? But you kind of like, hey, here's the map. We're at the mall, right? And like, you need to know where you are on the map so you know where to go. So the first thing we're going to do is, all you're going to do is close your eyes, sit up straight in your chairs with your feet on the floor. So you just have good feedback. So a lot of times SRI is done on your back, but we're in chairs. We've got good backs. Brian, you can even probably lay back in that thing and do SRI. There you go, buddy. You got it. Oh, there you go. You too, Nate. You could do that too if that works. So you're going to bring your hands you're going to close your eyes and bring your hands to the position 1 at the top. And all you're going to do is notice, experience, feel what it's like to have your hands there. And then closing your eyes so you can just not be with the visual stimulus. And then, yeah. And you're just gonna notice what it's like to have your hands here. Like, did the body breathe naturally? Was there any movement? Are you checked out? Do you have pain in your neck? Anything like that. There's no right or wrong. You're just being aware. Now bring your hands to position 2. You're gonna do the same thing. Just notice, experience, feel what's happening there. See if you can do your eyes closed so that you're not with the external experience. You're just, and some of you I just noticed took a big deep breath with your hands in position 2. Just notice, be aware. Now bring your hands to position 3. Same. Your job is just to experience your body, notice your body, feel it. And then rest your arms by your side. Open your eyes. Did anybody notice there was a place that felt really disconnected? Like you're like, I'm shopping at the mall. I'm already at home eating dinner. Like, I don't know what's going on. Anybody? Yeah, that's okay. It's normal. All right. Now, did everybody find a place where you felt connected and present? Right. Oh my God. Hallelujah. Bring your hands to that position. That's it. Bring your hands to where you felt connected. Sitting up straight, feet flat on the ground, closing your eyes, being present. And you're gonna breathe in the nose and out the mouth. You can focus on your breath. You can focus on sensation. You can focus on movement of the muscles in the nose and out the mouth. It's just a connect and release breath. And if breath feels forceful, just let the muscles expand and contract gently. And if that feels forceful, see if you can feel the sensation and let that open you up. You're still going to breathe in the nose and out the mouth. And let yourself feel good for a minute, right? OMG. You have a place that's connected in the nose and out the mouth. One more time. And now bring your hands to that place that felt disconnected. Just for one cycle. In the nose and out the mouth, and go right back to that connected place. No more than one cycle. You're not there to change it. You're there just to notice it. And back to where you're connected. Make sure you're connected. In the nose and out the mouth. And now to disconnected. On the exhale, you're gonna just say in your outside voice, sometimes I feel disconnected here. Sometimes I feel like nothing works. Sometimes I don't like this. And bring your hands back to where the place that was connected. In the nose and out the mouth. Rest your arms by your side. Keep the eyes closed just for a minute. Notice how your body wants to breathe and move, if there's any sensations. Notice if anything's changed. Go ahead and open your eyes. What's different?
Warmth.
Warmth, energy, what else? What?
The bottom of the
Awesome. You can feel your body. Yay! What else?
I don't care if you drop enough.
Sweet, I love that. More connected.
A little bit brought up emotion, I feel like in my neck, brings it up.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounded strange that I didn't feel disconnected.
There's somewhere that's disconnected.
Well, we know that because it's me, but
That's okay.
not
okay.
in those three positions.
That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes it's like, sometimes we're not in stage one.
Okay.
That's okay. Hang on, Shay.
I realized that like before we did all this, I was like happy and da, 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 da. And then I started to touch the places that felt like a little rough, and I'm like, ooh, I feel like I'm back in my feelings and like in all of that.
And how often do you go there and you live from there?
Like I deal with it when it's there. I don't necessarily
Live from it,
live
that's fair.
from it,
Do you
yeah.
feel like you fully go into it?
I think it gets chaotic and then I get scared and like
Okay,
run away from it.
Good, okay, cool. This is a really good edge. That's the edge, right? We're gonna go there. What were you gonna say, Barbara?
More open to outside forces. That's drawing into myself.
Beautiful. Yeah. Who else felt somewhat what Shay was experiencing? I'm like on the edge of something and I'm not really sure I want to go there.
Not just your words that makes you mad.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So we're gonna go there. Here's the thing, this is sacred territory here. Most of us get to this point and stop. I'm too afraid. I don't want to deal with this. I don't have the time to deal with this. Well, time's gonna catch up. Right? So, I'm not asking you to immerse yourself in the fire. Right? I'm not asking you to dive in head first. What I'm asking you to do is to warm your hands by it. Okay? So the first thing we want to do is make sure there's a baseline certainty that there is some safety in the body. A lot of people talk about this. And everybody's like, it's gotta be safe, it's gotta be safe. Well, if we only live from safety, this is where you're gonna fucking live all the time. Okay? Because you're gonna be like, I'm not okay with this, so I'm gonna go back to safe. We know we're not gonna die in the next 3 seconds, right? We all know this, okay? So we're gonna find the connection, right? Because everybody's like yawning, like their shoulders are relaxing, all of it. You're all doing it. And then you get to that place of disconnect and we've shined a light on it. Because your nervous system has a different function at that point. It literally goes, oh, now I can meet this in a new way. We're not gonna spoil that. We're gonna meet it in a new way. Okay? You don't have to like it. Nobody has to like me. Just go, let's do the exercise, right? Because this is where the shit changes. And it's not about your mind. It's like, is there movement? Is there breath? It's like you notice emotion in your throat. Listen to how your body wants to move and breathe to move it through. It's not gonna be normal, right? You might hyperventilate a bit. You might sound weird to the others. That's okay. Ryan, what are the gates like? What's the alchemy stuff like?
A lot of weird stuff.
A lot of weird stuff, because people are letting stuff move through them. Because it's for them, it's not, I mean, it is for the rest of us too. That's why we have a group room. You'll watch people in here, watch people getting in train. Someone will start to get in train and the rest of the room will follow. We do not heal in a vacuum, people. When you emote and do what's good for you, it's good for all of us. Even if not everyone likes it. So here's what we're gonna do. Bring your hand to that part that's connected, right? Stay connected, close your eyes. really be with the experience of what it's like to be present with yourself. In the nose and out the mouth. Stacy, bring your hands down. You're not choking yourself. There you go. Down a little bit more. That's it right there. In the nose and out the mouth. And connect. Connect. The ease, the certainty. You have a part that works. In the nose and out the mouth. And if you're just doing nose, you're building tension. You don't want to do that. You want to exhale out the mouth. Now, when we bring our hand to the place that's disconnected, you're going to make your own declarations, and I'll cue you. So bring your hands in the nose and out the mouth. Sometimes it feels like this will never, ever, ever, ever change, or whatever works for you. Say what is true in the nose and out the mouth. Say it out loud. Keep going. Stay with the rhythm. Sometimes what? Sometimes it feels like what? Sometimes what else? Stay with it. Stay with the rhythm, the energy, the breath, the sensation. Sometimes it feels scary. Sometimes I don't like this. Sometimes I'm afraid I'll never, ever, ever, ever change. And notice what it's not like to feel fear. Stay with it for another cycle. Notice the breath, the movement, sensation of the fear, of the not enough. Just notice it. There's nothing to change. Bring your hands to the place of connection. Rest your arms by your side. And keep your eyes closed for a second and just notice what's different. When you're ready, open your eyes. What's different?
The starkness feels clear, like where it's, like what parts and where it's coming from.
Were you able to be with the movement and the breath and the sensation of it?
Yeah.
And then what happened when you did that?
Felt like it, like the pain that I was feeling, like just kind of like melted. So.
Oh my God. It's that easy. You didn't mentalize it. No. But you were with the experience and it shifted. It's really that simple.
I feel pressure on my temples.
Yeah, you're feeling where some tension's building.
Oh.
Or where you've been storing tension.
Oh.
Which isn't unusual. Does anyone else feel tension? Sometimes it wakes up. Like all of a sudden we shine a light on it and we're like, oh, this is where I've been carrying this stuff. Because it needs to be felt. It needs to be addressed.
Gives voice to it, I feel like.
Yeah, it's like a 3-year-old, like, hey, 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 hey. And then you're like, oh, hey. And they're like, they're like, oh, thanks. It's like Daisy. She's like, oh my God. And you're like, just pick her up. And you put her up and she's like, right? Because you met the need. You met the rhythm. We don't do that with ourselves enough. And you don't have to get stuck in it. It's this stuff that gets stuck, right? But if you can feel it's just an experience. I'm just having an experience. That's it. What else is different?
Went from warm to burning.
Ah, yeah. What else?
I did feel like it was the first time I ever experienced something like that. It was a novel experience, even though I've done this many times.
Yeah, you're a different person.
Makes the worries that you think about, like, oh, you can go through it and it doesn't have to be blocked.
Yeah. It's really just energy, movement, breath. Do we have shit we gotta solve sometimes? Yes, but here's the thing. When you start to let that stuff move, it will change your mind, I promise you. You all know that from being on the table. Where like the little stuff that used to bother you, like I guarantee you I could go through all of your initial paperwork and you'd be like, I can't even believe that I wrote that because I don't even remember the last time this happened. Right? Or you'll be like, oh, I don't even think about that now. There are people that have been to see us and they're like, I don't even know why I walked in the door because I'm feeling so different. So know when you have those experiences, it changes your brain function each and every time. It's moving that through. It has to. It's sending different signals. So now, because we're not a mind and a body, where it's one thing, it's always happening. But then our thoughts go, we're just going to stop that right there, right? Because your mind is in business to keep your mind in business. That's what its business is. It's like people are like, I'm going to meditate. I can't meditate because I'm thinking all the time. The goal of meditations is to see what shitty thoughts you're thinking all the time so that you can start to change them, right? Is that fair? Because that's the stuff that's stopping stuff from moving. So you guys feel the room right now? It's like, oh God. So here's what we're gonna do. You guys ready to do stage 2?
Yeah.
This is where we're gonna move emotional energy. And what that means is we're gonna put 2 of your parts in relationship. So Sherry, even though you didn't have a part that felt disconnected, you're gonna put one hand up here and one hand down here, okay? You guys can use the 2 parts that you were using, okay? And here's the idea. It's not even an idea. You're gonna put them in relationship. So go ahead and put your hands on your parts, okay? And then like about the part that's disconnected, just for a moment, like if that part of you that is disconnected had a personality, what would it be? Just say it out loud.
Clicky.
Clicky?
Cranky.
Cranky. What did you say, Kathy?
A monk.
A monk. Okay, we got, what do you got?
My ex-husband.
Now do you see why we don't want to experience the parts of us that we don't like? The first thing we come up with is some shitty ass, adjective for that part of us. Right? What did you come up with, Shay?
Bitch. Sorry.
No, but do you want to be seen as a bitch?
No.
Right, we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
Yep. And so she's going to do everything she can to avoid having that experience. Does that make sense? We do this to ourselves consistently. So, hands on the body. Now close your eyes for a minute. Do these parts feel like they actually live in the same body? No, isn't it wild? You're like 7 or 8 inches away from each other and they're like on different planets because it takes a lot of energy to keep that stuff separate. Now, that place that's connected, give me some adjectives. Give me its personality. Popcorn. Relaxed. Oh. Happy, right? We've got happy and bitch. What do you have? Confused. That's fair. Confusion is good. We've got relaxed and cranky.
Wait, the disconnect or
The connected.
Oh.
What do you mean?
The personality
Sure.
of the place that's connected.
Oh, creativity.
Oh, creativity, right? And what was the other one?
Oh, like a
monk.
monk. Voiceless.
Voiceless. Okay. Okay. So now what would your happy part say to the shitty part? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Wake up.
Huh?
Wake up.
Wake up.
Ah. Okay. What else?
Mine is a high.
Hi. That's a good one. What else?
You're safe.
You're safe. What else?
Shut up.
Shut up. That's a common one.
Get out.
Get out, right?
That's funny.
You can do it.
Is that true or is that what you wanted to say?
No, that's what my creative side would do.
And what is the other part say in response?
Oh no.
Oh no, right? So we got right, like we've got these dialogues happening. I like, I dislike, cranky, relaxed, voiceless, creative,
What am I-
bitch, happy.
What am I gonna do?
Yeah. So this is stage 2. It is hilarious, right? But we spend a lot of energy telling the part we don't like what to do. So instead of having a variety of ourselves at the table, we're like, well, I don't really like that part, so I'm gonna put you over here. Right? Hilarious. So, what if being a bitch meant I actually knew what I want. I can stand up for what I want. I'm a strong, independent female that has her shit together.
You got this.
But you have to be able to have a dialogue. So here we go. Is everybody ready? Now, if it feels really weird, because some of you guys have your hands really close and it's kind of hard to like isolate, but what it's gonna look like is this. Zoom people. I do not know if you can see me. Okay, so one hand, if it feels like it's too close, that's okay. You could separate your hands just because I want you to get the experience of the exercise. But one hand is gonna be here and I'm gonna do one hand here. You're gonna isolate them. So like one part is you're gonna move, breathe and stretch, and then the other part, we're gonna go back and forth, right? And so you may notice that the part that felt really connected might not feel so connected right now in relationship to the part that you don't like. Is this fair?
Yes.
It's so weird. Like we're putting our parts together. So close your eyes and I'm gonna go good part, bad part. Okay, so we know where we're gonna be. So go ahead and inhale good part in the nose and out the mouth. And then inhale bad part in the nose and out the mouth. And then good part. On the exhale, good part, we're gonna say, I have different rhythms.
Different rhythms.
And then on the inhale, exhale, I have different parts. On the inhale, exhale, some parts I like. Get into it. Some parts I don't like. Yeah. Some parts are awesome. Some parts suck. Some parts are like my mom. I got some laughs. Yep. Some parts are like my dad. Say if you can't say it out loud, you should say it out loud. So yeah, do it. Come on, you got this. Some parts are like my sister. Right. Some parts are like my ex-husband. Oh, here we go. Some parts are like Biden.
Some parts are like Biden.
Some parts are like Trump. But ha 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 ha. They're all me.
They're all me. They're all me.
Rest your arms by your side. Let your body breathe and move how it needs to. Keep your eyes closed if you can for a second, just to notice, experience, feel. Did anyone get confused? Good. What that means is the energy of those parts are starting to shift because you can't keep track of how you froze things in time. Is that fair? Oh, well, maybe this isn't it's what's happening. What, huh? What did you guys notice? What was your experience?
When you would say certain people, you could identify certain things from those people in either or places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you said certain people, I was like, wait, what? I didn't know that actually hurt from that, or like that was connected to them.
I refuse to connect to those people. Okay.
Well, then you always be triggered by them.
I don't have a sister.
I know. Well, and so how often do we get triggered? And then we're triggered, but we only get triggered because that part exists in us too. It's like here's the thing. You can forgive in your time, but you don't have to forget. right? There's just bullshit that you don't have to deal with in your life. That's okay. And at some point you'll get to forgiveness for your own sake and self. But when you're constantly triggered by something, it will just constantly trigger you, right? It's a part that's waking you up to be resolved. That's it. Right? It's like, I'm the asshole on the road too, and I'm like, get out of my way. You know, like I get that. Bring your hands to those parts. Has the good part changed? Has the bad part changed? Does anyone feel confused and like this is not the same as it was when I walked in?
It's like peaceful confusion.
Talking.
They're talking to each other. For some of you, that's where it is. Yeah. The point is this. We freeze things in time space, or we think that we know them and believe it. And then our emotional energy gets the best of it. It's my bad back. It's always this way, right? This lives here and this lives here. Like when people are doing SRI, when somebody's like, oh, it changed. I'm like, I hope it would change. I hope stuff changes because you want any tension patterns to move. You don't want them to be in the same place forever. And the idea is that we're here to have an experience. That's it. Most of you laughed when I started naming certain stuff, right? You're like, this is kind of hilarious because we get it. And then we know we're triggered emotionally by it. It's just part of being human. And the way to move through it physiologically is just put your hands on your body. It doesn't have to be that serious. Literally, you can do this exercise in like a minute. You'll see Matthew back here if there's time between tables. He'll be doing SRI, right? Because he's like, oh, here, you know, stuff things out. We don't graduate from the stages. You only get better at negotiating the rhythm, right? We're not even negotiating. We're just being with it. It's just like, oh, here it is. What's your biggest takeaways?
It's constantly changing.
Listen to yourself.
Yeah,
It's not as scary as we think it is.
it's not as scary.
Forgive yourself.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself.
So-
The energy of the group.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one.
Yeah, the energy of the group. Do we have any on there? Is anybody chatting in, chiming in? So I know we all can do this at home. This will propel your care. Even just checking in and seeing where you are before you get on the table will help kind of wipe the slate clean. Do we have anything, Brady? No, that's okay. It's Facebook world, Zoom bodies. So just remember, it's really that simple. Does anyone have any questions? Everyone's like, no, it's Monday.
What does SRI stand for again?
Somato-respiratory integration.
Would you think that this would help the breath more naturally be deeper and more constant?
I think when you're nervous, when your parasympathetics are tuned in, absolutely. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it's just paying attention, right? It's like, you know, in the first 5 minutes of yoga, I'm like, oh, I am breathing. Hey, thanks. Right? Because I've allotted the time to pay attention. Or if I go in the exam room and I'm doing exams, guess who's doing the HRV with everybody? Like I'm doing it. I find times to be really conscious of my body, and hopefully I can do it more often than not. Brian, oh yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I realize that like I'm looking for like a big experience when I do these things. And sometimes it can be very subtle. I think that's just a really important thing, and just those small little movements can end up producing big changes.
Yes, that's a really, really good point.
Yeah.
Because everybody's looking for something. This is the culture. Take a pill, it's gonna fix you. The small things you do over time and the small practices that you do end up being very big things. Like if you just checked in the mornings, just try it for the next week and see what happens for you. I bet your life will be a little bit different. And it might be exponentially different. I had a teacher that'd always be like, every time you come and meditate, I'm putting a piece of rice paper under your feet, right? It's just like, we're just one thing after the other, right? So yes, have you had big changes in care, Brian? Yes. Have you had big events happen at once? Yes. But most of it is small, consistent habits, right? That make the biggest changes. One thing at a time, that's so important. All right, I'm gonna be grading you on your homework and comment this week, so keep up your ask us questions, please do. We're always here to do that, okay? So thank you guys so much
And
for
was
coming.
it Shay that kept saying she was a bitch?
Yes.
Let me tell you something, honey. Let me tell you something.
Wanna bring your
All
chairs
bitch means is a babe in total control of herself.
Woo!
That's what that means, okay?